every time you move up, there is a next level. You may be the best player at YMCA league, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday league. You crush everybody. You're the rock star. When you leave, people are taking pictures with you.
Oh, that's me on Tuesday
And
night.
then you go play at an LA Fitness League, 8 a.m. in the morning, 7 a.m. in the morning. You're a nobody. But let's just say you eventually get so competitive that you play good at the LA Fitness place. Then you go play against college basketball players, and then you're a nobody. Then let's just say you get good enough to play for college. Then all of a sudden you have what it takes to go into the NBA. You're actually doing something. You went into the Final Four. You made a name for yourself. You go into the NBA. Then all of a sudden you're like, dude, it's a freaking different game. These guys are so much quicker.
Next level.
Then you get good enough to be an all-star. Now you go into the all-star game. Then you're good enough to go into the playoffs. Then you go into the finals. Then you see the other guy handles pressure better than you do. He's a champion. You were a 14-year NBA veteran, but the guy won a championship. You didn't. There's always the next level at every level. And the next level at every level is more demanding. And there are people that eventually say, I'm just not going to go at this level. I'm just not. I'm just not going to go at this level. But by the way, and I'm fully convinced, Gerard, this mindset is applicable to every industry. I am convinced in Hollywood, the guys who eventually become the Steven Spielbergs of the world, while everybody else is going out there celebrating, hardcore partying, I'm convinced those guys go out there and they're working on their next script. I'm convinced those guys go out there and they're already looking at the next thing. Almost every single person I've studied who made it at the highest level, you know, the similar answers like, what's your favorite movie you ever made? You know what they say?
I haven't made it yet.
The next one.
Yeah.
What's your favorite championship? The next one.
Oh, like what Tom Brady just
the,
said.
the point is, it's like...
My favorite ring is the one that I haven't gotten yet.
Versus the people always are like, well, let me tell you, man, back in, 1993 when I did X, Y, Z, that's the problem.
Al Bundy scored 4 touchdowns for Paul Guy.
That's the problem. So
you were there.
In the world of competition, yes, you want to get... And by the way, just so everybody knows this DEI, diverse, equity, and inclusive. Yeah. The person who said these words... Just so let me reread it. The person who said these words, her name, not his name, her name is Mary Callahan Erdos, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase Asset and Wealth Management Division. Her name. So this is not if it's a he or a she. She says to make it requires 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. To make it at 2.5 years. She says that. This is not like bunch of men that are making other men work hard and all this other stuff. No. By the way, I've sat with women in the financial industry. Let me tell you, some of the most impressive people I've ever sat across. Beasts. Beasts. You sit there, they will eat your lunch, and they're intimidating. They're so solid because they can compete in this league. Men fear these women. So it's not about, this isn't about sex. This isn't about color. This isn't about any. This is about, are you willing to pay the price to be the cream of the crop in your industry?
How bad do you want it?
Are you willing to meet the demand? And I'm telling you, Gerard, I'm telling you, 99% of the time, you're going to eventually hit a level that you're going to either say, I'm content with this amount of, what we produce with a product. And in that moment is a breaking point to say, you're going to go a little bit more because the other guy's going to go a little bit more. You're going to go a little bit more.
You do this thing. You do this visualization, don't you?
That's the one, always. Yeah. The next level, you're always at the bottom of the next level. Everybody's always at the bottom of the next level. All of us.
Well, you basically had this conversation with Shaq, right? I mean, more or less. So
with Kobe, but Shaq doesn't want to have this conversation. But the whole idea was...
Well, when he said, how great would Shaq be if he had your work ethic? He'd be the best player of all time.
Shaq said it's the dumbest question anyone's ever asked. And he DM'd me, he was pissed off, and he blocked me. So, but
Shaq, come on the podcast. Let's work this thing out, all right?
The guy, again, though, multiple time champion, Hall of Famer, business icon. I guess, okay, I don't disagree with anything you've said. I disagree with nothing that you've said. But just to give, I don't know, another opinion, all right? I've seen guys that do want it too bad, and they it's all they think about, and they obsess about it, and they go, I was one of those guys, especially. It's all you think about. It's everything. And then when the wheel breaks a little bit, it breaks all the way. Like when there's a little crack, it cracks all the way. I think that there has to be some sort of, to me, it's like a Ferrari, right? You can take the best car in the world, and if you keep it in the red the whole time and you push, the best car in the world is going to explode.
No one's ever said that. No one's ever said that. By the way, that is a misconception right there, Gerard. So let me take you back. When you hear stories like that of a person that gave everything and they still didn't make it, it is such a discouraging story for young kids that are sitting there saying, F it, why am I going to give my best? It's a very discouraging story. Let me explain to you why.
Trying is worth it.
No, okay.
For sure.
Now it's a different story, but let me give you the other side. We will rarely talk about our F-ups on why we didn't make it to the next level. We will rarely talk about our F-ups, why we didn't make it to the next level. Rarely. One day Mario's talking to me, and I love watching Mario play soccer. I mean, it's just, if Mario plays, I want to watch this guy play soccer.
The guy's got calves for days.
Not just calves for days. I just like watching him play. You know what he said to me the other day? He said, you know what one of my biggest fears in life is? He says, one of my biggest fears in life is the fact that I can't ever play soccer again. Can you imagine? This guy says, one of my biggest fears in life is that I can't play the game I love playing. Okay. This is him. So he tells a story. He says, one time I'm in junior or whatever. I'm in sophomore. What is 10th grade? Whatever 10th grade. Is this freshman? Freshman is 9th, right?
Sophomore is 10th grade.
Okay, sophomore is 10th grade. So he says, I'm in sophomore right now, and I'm playing for the varsity team, and he's kicking ass. He's doing a great job. I think he's the captain of the team, whatever. And there's this moment where the coach is challenging him, and he talks back. And he just publicly, goes after his, what do you call it, his coach. And the coach pulls him aside and he says, you know what? You just messed up everything. You're off the team. You ain't going to play. You're never going to get playing time with me. Okay? And he says, I'm like, I quit. I give up. And he left. So then you hear that story and you say, okay, that's probably not a story you want to tell publicly. But Mario's told that story publicly, right? Here's what I did. Those stories we all have. I have those stories where I was at when I'm coming up. I'm a 6'4.5" guy. What do you mean you didn't play any kind of organized sports? I have my own stories, what I didn't want to do. Everybody has those stories. But sometimes when you're saying a guy doesn't make it to he gave everything, he did this, he did that. Sometimes one to me is you just don't have the talent to play at that level. That's number one.
Which is true.
Which is
Some
very
people
true.
do max out what they...
Bro, first of all, you played semi-pro baseball. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what percentage of the freaking kids out of high school ever play college, let alone semi-pro?
Or maybe you could hit the shit out of a fastball, but you couldn't hit a curveball.
Tom Ellsworth the other day telling me, Tom's like, yeah, I took Gerard to a baseball game. This is Tom's commentary on taking Gerard to a baseball game. He says, I take Gerard to a baseball game. And
which was awesome. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah. He said, we go to a baseball game. It's a pitching duel, which he loves. And he says, we go to a place, and the guy's throwing pitches, and they're allowing people to hit. So Gerard goes in, and he grabs a bat. He says, you going to let me use this metal bat? And the guy says, yeah. You sure? Yeah. Okay. Nobody knows who he is. They're just kind of like another guy that's coming here trying to hit our baseball. So the guy starts pitching. Tom's like, Pat, Gerard looked like an MLB player. Everybody was shell-shocked with how beautiful Gerard was hitting the ball.
On the field, or this is in the batting cages?
In the batting cage.
Yeah.
Okay,
He says he was killing it. People are like, who is this guy? Meaning.
It's a white Cecil Fielder.
White Cecil Fielder. What's the most home runs he ever hit in a season?
47.
51.
I don't know.
Yeah. 51. So, anyways.
I could see you being a Cecil Fielder type.
So,
Great
but
dude,
the point is, there's a little bit of talent.
Junior.
There's a little bit of talent. There's a little bit of attitude. Yeah. There's a little bit of ego. There's a little bit of you're not coachable. There's a little bit of nobody tells me what to do. There's a little bit of your prima donna of who you were in the high school. Because sometimes when a kid knows from 10th grade he's going to be an MLB, that's actually a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, the kid that knows, like, this guy's going to be an MLB, somebody needs to say.
Like LeBron when he was going to the NBA.
Well, just you shut. You're right. You just shut off.
Other way, bro.
You
it's
don't
like,
listen.
You're like, dude, I know. What are you talking about? You're just a $60,000 a year teacher. What do you know? I'm going to be a freaking multi-million-dollar contract. You have that absolute arrogant. No one wants to coach you. No one's. My guys in the company right now. We've had a lot of different people in the company, right? The number one earner is not the most talented guy in the company, and they say it. They say it. One of the best things I've ever heard in the history of basketball was they asked, who's the guy that came up with triangle offense? Is it Tex Winter? It's Tex Winter.
Yeah.
Tex Winter, who taught Phil Jackson about the triangle offense. So they interviewed Tex Winter. They say, Tex, you've been in this league for a long time. He says, a long time. Long time. 50 years. Yes, a long time. Who did you coach that knew the most about basketball? He says, oh, that's easy. He said, who? He said, Jordan Farmar. It's a Jordan Farmar.
The point guard?
It's about Jordan Farmar.
Great story about Jordan Farmar.
He says, why Jordan Farmar? He says, because you couldn't teach the guy anything. He knew it all.
Oh, man.
Think about that analogy.
Each.
In
Jordan,
business,
if you're listening.
in sales. This is Tex.
UCLA.
And by the way, I liked
Lakers.
this game when he was on the Lakers.
Yeah.
I liked this game. And he went and played in China or Europe. I don't know where he played.
Yeah.
And he came back and he actually recovered. He ended up having the tail end of his career was good. So I think there's more to the story than just.
Okay, so let me ask this,
Yeah.
okay? How do you reconcile those two things and then come back and find that next gear? If you feel like you've gotten as far as you can go, I put the work in, I've done as much as I can, and I've done the best I can, how do you then find that next gear?
In another career or in that specific sport you're still in or business you're still in?
Well, what do you think? Should you leave and do something else?
No,
or do you?
Here's what I tell you what I would do is, number one, like for me, you know, in July of 2009, I said we're gonna have half a million licensed agents by 2029. That's a pretty crazy vision to cast. At that time, we had like 66 agents when we started the company in September of 2009, and I said we're gonna have a half a million licensed agents. Crazy, 29, 30 years old, fine, insane. But why did I say it? At first, when I got into sales, I'm working at Bally's. I'm like, dude, I suck at sales. Gerard, I was the worst salesperson. I'm the best guy, best in shape guy at the gym. I couldn't sell one membership.
It can't be worse than the guy at LA Fitness. Cannot be.
4 weeks goes by. 8 weeks, I go to Cisco. I said, Cisco, I'm going to go back into the Army. I suck. He said, what do you mean? I said, I suck. He said, before you quit, just give it one more month. I said, you have to realize I'm the worst salesman in here. He says, go and sell memberships at the mall. I said, let me get this straight. I can't sell memberships at a gym with equipment here. You want me to go sell memberships at a mall? He said, I want you to go to Fox Hills Mall. Just go to Fox Hills Mall. So I go to Fox Hills Mall. And I'm behind the desk, you know, escalators behind me. People are walking. I would not leave here. But the best guys were always there. I was always in the back, okay? So I noticed this guy's, I'm like, screw it, I'm going to go to the front. I go to the front, I sell my first membership. Girl comes, never forget this girl, nicest girl, $75 down, $32 a month. Corporate contract, I'm like, I sold the contract! I sold the member, I'm not going back to the Army. I was so excited. This 21-year-old kid, I'm like, finally sold the damn membership, right? So September of 1999, I'm 20 years old, right? 30 days goes by, I break the record, I become the rookie of the month, and then I come back and I become a manager. Anyways, things start taking off for me. Then I get into the insurance space.
It was confidence is what you needed?
Confidence came back up. Then I'm like, but I'm still partying, I'm still distracted, I'm still all this other stuff. Then I go into the insurance, I'm like, this is getting hard. I don't think this is for me. So you get past that phase. Then you start making money, then you start winning, then everybody starts telling you how amazing you are. You're freaking ridiculous. Bro, one of the greatest drugs that's not even a drug is flattery. Flattery ruins women, men, and athletes and business people. You're so amazing. You're better than your dad. You're better than this. You're better than, like, that kind of stuff. When people say this division is like, dude, you know, so you become that cocky. So the words. I got lucky where people said other things to me behind closed doors, okay? I got lucky. They would say the opposite. It's like, well, we'll see. A lot of guys have come and they've collapsed. A lot of guys have come and they've ruined their careers because of that. A lot of guys have come up like you and they've done this. That's what I needed. I feared losing it all, and I heard that messaging. So now you get to a person that says, okay, I get to a point, I don't make it. What do I do at a level like that? Number one, I would get serious counsel. Like the fighter. Mickey tells Dickie, Ma, stop acting like Dickie's going to fight again. He's 40 years old. Stop lying to him. He's never going to fight again.
Hard truth.
Hard truth from people that love you, that you know they're not going to lie to you. It's not easy to do. It's got to be behind closed doors, you and them. Then based on that, you can't rely on one. It's got to be 3 or 4 because they got to give you different perspective. And then at that point, you got to make that decision and move on. In your gut, if you get a feeling that this is what it is. Now, here's the other part. Some people will hear this message. They will only go talk to the people that they know they're going to tell them to move on. I had a guy that told me,
Looking for a way out.
Looking for a way out. One of the guys I'm consulting, the Stanfields, they have a pizza shop. Love these guys. They call me and they say, hey, Pat, yes, we have made a decision. We're moving on from the pizza business. We're going to go into a different industry. I said, really? I said, yeah. Were you on it or no? Did you hear my conversation with them? I said, really? You're moving on? I said, yes. Tell me why. Oh, we just know we're going to do better in different businesses. I said, oh, okay, interesting. I said, let me ask you a question. Is it because you think you're going to do different things in a different industry, or do you think this thing got really, really hard and you just kind of want to throw in the towel? Well, no, I think it's because we want to move to a different industry. I said, can I ask you guys a question? I said, you pay a lot of money to me on a monthly basis. Why are you bullshitting me? What's the point of you bullshitting me? Like, you're paying me. Like, what are you trying to impress me? Don't try to impress me. Just tell me, what do you guys talk about late at night in bed? How much do you hate your current business because of how hard it is? And they look at each other, and he says, just tell him. Just tell him. And she says, Pat, COVID was hard. Selling pizza during COVID was hard. It's the hardest thing we ever did. I said, what happened to you guys telling me 9 months ago you guys want to build a franchise doing $30 million a year, and all of a sudden you're discouraged 9 months later? What happened here? I said, here's how I work when it comes down to marriage. You guys want to get a divorce. I said, I believe in divorce. I'm not one that says, what is it called? Anyways, this stuff, to death do us part, all this other. I do think sometimes marriage does make sense. My parents got a divorce. Best decision they made to get in a divorce. Before you get a divorce, 12 therapy sessions together with a therapist, 6 by yourself. If after that you guys are still convinced you guys got to go out there and throw in the towel, guess what? Go get the divorce.
And you gave it a shot.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So meaning before you say, it's not going to work yet, I'm going to go to the next business, because the guy asked me a question this last week. He says, hey, what do you say to the insurance agent that's struggling? He's been having a hard time the last 2 years. I said, listen, you're either struggling because you're not working. You're either struggling because your attitude sucks. You're either struggling because you're not getting better because of the language, or you're struggling because you're just newer in the business and you haven't hit the 5-year marker. Stick around 5 years. 5 years later, give your best. If you're not making the kind of money you want and the lifestyle you have, then consider moving on. But if you do it after 18 more months, what do you know about this industry? You know nothing yet. So there's a combination. There is no black and white answer to it. I've seen some people that have such a big upside. Go talk to somebody that they know they're going to say, oh, baby, this is too much work for you. Go home. You should take a break. This is too stressful. That guy, all he cares about is money. And they ruined the guy's life, and now he's broke, still living with mommy and daddy. So it's very important who you go to and talk to when you're all the way at the decision-making point, relationship or career.
I've heard you tell this story before, and you talked about who's in your ear and what they're saying and flattery and all that. You've said something to the effect of, when your top guys are killing it, that's when you kind of bring them back down to earth. Or when someone's struggling, that's when you kind of build them up. You've said this before, right? Like, if someone's killing it and they had their best 6 months of their life or whatever, you don't be like, bro, you're killing it, you're the man. Mistake. You say, hey, so tell us about that.
Yeah, it's a mistake. When a guy's killing it, you don't overbuild him up. Because, the one thing goes when you win and you make money, or you're winning in sports, business, life, and anything, the moment you start winning, paranoia goes away.
Yeah. Once you start believing the hype, drinking your own
when paranoia goes away, it is so
it's a motivating factor.
It is so dangerous when paranoia goes away.
Hey, man, you just won.
Well, literally, last night I left the gym. I'm like, I got to get back to the office, man. Like,
you called me at 11
I got a phone call, and I was
right.
like, I got to get back. But we talked about this before, and this brings this whole thing full circle, man, I played with a lot of dudes, and it's crazy because I see it now as like a second wave of my life. I see it now with dudes that have been in creative industry and guys that have been in their life. I think people, you talked about partying and losing focus. I think some people seek that out on purpose because it's easier for me to say I didn't make it because I started drinking, or I didn't make it because man, I got into the girls. Yeah, it's way easier to say if only I hadn't drank than dude, I just wasn't good.
If I didn't have that ankle injury,
I just wasn't good
everyone
enough,
wants
man.
an excuse. No one wants to say, yeah, I did it, and I just wasn't
But you
that good
seek it
enough.
out just in case. Like Simone Biles. Like, I don't know anything about Simone Biles from a wall, but she's a champion. Maybe she thought, man, I just don't have it this time. Anxiety or COVID or something. It's better for me to back out with an excuse than it is for me to not win gold. I can't see me as anything other than a champion.
FYI, you know what's the crazy thing?
I don't know if that's true.
You know what's the crazy thing? We will never know. Because there's certain things in life we will never tell the truth to the world to save face. There are certain questions you will never, ever know the answer to that question. Never. There are a lot of decisions that we make, and we're very good at acting as if we made the right decision to protect our egos and protect our position. We're pros at it. Every one of us in the world is pro at this. This isn't like you're better than another person. And every once in a while, if you can show the humane side that I effed up and I wish I would have done something differently, then people realize you're human and they relate to you. We all want to be able to do that, but it's so hard to
Vulnerability is really hard,
it's
man.
so hard to do. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.